Imagine standing before a blank canvas, an empty page, an unsolved problem, or an uncharted market opportunity. In this pregnant moment of possibility, you experience simultaneously the weight of Earth's potential manifestation, the spark of fire's igniting vision, the spaciousness of air's conceptual clarity, and the depth of water's intuitive knowing. The creative process represents perhaps the most profound expression of our elemental nature, not through the dominance of any single element, but through their dynamic integration. Like master alchemists transforming base materials into precious gold, the creator harmonizes these fundamental energies into expressions, innovations, and solutions that transcend their component parts. Whether painting masterpiece or designing algorithm, choreographing dance or developing business strategy, the creative act emerges through balanced relationship with these elemental forces that together constitute our multidimensional creative capacity. In this chapter, we'll explore how each element contributes its distinctive qualities to the creative process: Earth's manifestation power, fire's transformative vision, air's conceptual clarity, and water's intuitive depth. We'll examine how elemental imbalances create specific creative challenges, from procrastination to perfectionism, from scattered thinking to emotional blocks. Through understanding these patterns, we'll develop practical approaches for addressing common creative obstacles through conscious elemental rebalancing, tailored to your unique creative constitution and current needs. Whether you identify primarily as artist, entrepreneur, scientist, or problem solver, this elemental understanding offers fresh perspective on your creative process. Not merely abstract theory, but practical wisdom for transforming your relationship with that mysterious human capacity to bring forth what has never existed before. Through conscious integration of these fundamental energies, creativity becomes not rare gift bestowed on few, but natural expression of balanced human nature accessible to all through appropriate cultivation of our elemental wholeness. Creativity flows through characteristic phases that correspond remarkably well with the elemental energies we've explored throughout this book. Water, the receptive beginning. Contrary to popular conception that creativity begins with active generation, the creative cycle typically originates in water's receptive depth, that open, permeable state where inspiration flows into consciousness from beyond its conventional boundaries. Before we can create something new, we must first receive, allowing impressions, influences, observations, and intuitions to penetrate our awareness without immediate judgment or premature structuring. Attentive presence creates essential foundation through noticing what others overlook: subtle patterns, unexpected connections, quiet whispers of possibility that speak beneath the noise of conventional perception. The painter who truly sees the quality of light rather than merely looking at landscape, the entrepreneur who senses emerging need before market articulates it, the scientist who notices anomaly others dismiss as measurement error, all demonstrate this heightened receptivity that forms creativity's essential beginning. Liminal consciousness enhances reception through accessing states between waking and dreaming, effort and surrender, focus and relaxation. These boundary conditions, often experienced during meditation, shower thoughts, forest walks, or hypnagogic states before sleep, create neurological conditions where connections form beyond conscious direction, where insights emerge rather than being constructed, where the genuinely new can enter through gates less guarded by habitual thinking. Emotional resonance provides essential feedback about what truly matters among countless potential stimuli. The heart's intelligence, its capacity to register significance through feeling before conceptual understanding, creates initial filtering that separates meaningful signals from endless noise. Intuitive recognition completes this receptive phase through pre-verbal knowing that something significant has appeared, that moment of aha, or there's something here, that precedes full understanding yet signals authentic contact with creative potential. Creative challenges frequently emerge when this essential water phase receives insufficient respect, when rational pragmatism demands immediate clarity before receptive process completes, when productivity pressure short-circuits necessary gestation, when emotional disconnection prevents recognition of what truly resonates. Following water's receptive beginning, creativity requires air's clarifying presence, the capacity to transform intuitive glimpses and resonant feelings into communicable understanding. This conceptual phase develops initial impressions into coherent frameworks, giving structure to what might otherwise remain fleeting and ineffable. This clarifying phase manifests through several characteristic qualities. Analytical refinement transforms vague impressions into specific understanding through conscious examination of what initially arrived in pre-articulated form. The writer who explores implications of intuitive phrase, the designer who systematically investigates functional requirements behind aesthetic impulse, the innovator who deconstructs market observation into constituent elements, all demonstrate this essential movement from intuitive glimpse to conscious comprehension. Perspective exploration expands initial understanding through consideration from multiple viewpoints, examining creative impulse through diverse lenses that reveal dimensions invisible from any single vantage point. Communicable expression translates personal understanding into shareable form through language, imagery, notation, or other symbolic systems that bridge between private experience and public domain. Structural organization completes this conceptual phase through arrangement of elements into coherent relationships, the identification of patterns, hierarchies, sequences, and frameworks that transform collection of insights into organized whole. Creative challenges frequently emerge when this air phase either dominates prematurely, rushing to conceptualize before sufficient receptivity, or receives insufficient attention amid pressure to begin real work of implementation. With water's receptive depth and air's conceptual clarity established, creativity requires fire's activating energy, the passionate commitment that transforms potential into kinetic movement. This activating phase manifests through several characteristic qualities. Purpose connection establishes essential why through linking creative concept with meaningful values beyond mere novelty or technical achievement. Courage activation provides necessary will to begin despite uncertainty, perfectionism, or potential failure that accompanies all creative efforts. Energetic mobilization supplies the literal vitality required for creative work, the focused attention, physical stamina, and psychological intensity necessary for bringing something new into existence. Transformative vision completes this activation phase through clear image of desired outcome. Not merely abstract concept, but vivid anticipation of specific creation emerging through committed effort. Creative challenges frequently emerge when fire receives either insufficient expression, leading to conceptual understanding without motivational energy to implement, or excessive dominance that burns through resources without sustainable approach. Following water's reception, air's clarification, and fire's activation, creativity culminates in Earth's manifestation phase, the disciplined, persistent action that transforms vision into tangible reality. This manifestation phase expresses through several characteristic qualities. Technical mastery provides essential skill through development of refined capabilities specific to creative domain. The musician with disciplined command of instrument, the coder with fluent understanding of programming language, the craftsperson with embodied knowledge of materials, all demonstrate this fundamental expertise. Persistent implementation supplies necessary endurance through sustained effort beyond initial inspiration. This persistence transforms fleeting vision into completed manifestation through incremental progress over necessary time. Resource stewardship manages the practical dimensions of creative process through conscious attention to time, energy, materials, and other finite resources required for completion. Refinement through feedback completes this manifestation phase through iterative improvement based on real-world testing rather than theoretical assumptions. This willingness to engage with actual rather than imagined results creates the progressive refinement essential for transforming initial attempts into polished creation. Creative challenges frequently emerge when Earth receives insufficient respect, leading to visions without manifestation, or excessive dominance that stifles innovation through rigid adherence to established methods. Understanding Earth's essential contribution transforms our relationship with creative discipline. While this elemental cycle proceeds through sequential phases, true creative mastery emerges through their dynamic integration. the capacity to maintain simultaneous connection with water's receptivity, air's clarity, fire's activation, and earth's manifestation throughout creative process. This integrated creativity manifests as receptive action that maintains openness to new input while actively implementing current understanding, simultaneously doing and listening, manifesting and receiving rather than rigidly separating creative phases. Clarified passion that combines conceptual precision with motivational energy, neither cold analysis nor blind enthusiasm, but thoughtful engagement infused with meaningful purpose. Grounded vision that balances imaginative possibility with practical realization, neither fantasy disconnected from implementation nor mechanical execution without inspiring direction. Flowing structure that provides necessary organization while maintaining adaptive responsiveness, neither rigid framework restricting creative emergence nor chaotic process without sufficient containment. This quintessential creativity represents not superhuman achievement, but natural expression of our multidimensional nature, when elements achieve sufficient harmony. Through conscious cultivation of elemental balance, creativity transforms from mysterious gift or painful struggle into joyful manifestation of our inherent capacity to participate in the universe's continuous unfolding. The elements manifest distinctively across different creative domains, each field naturally emphasizing particular elemental qualities while requiring conscious development of others for balanced expression. Earth-dominant creativity, the builder's path. Archetypal expression of earth-centered creativity appears through tangible creation and systematic implementation. Architecture, engineering, craftsmanship, industrial design, culinary arts, and other fields emphasizing physical manifestation through disciplined technique. Essential strengths include exceptional implementation skills, disciplined execution, attention to detail, material understanding, and sustainable approaches that create enduring value. Characteristic challenges emerge through potential rigidity, excessive caution, difficulty embracing innovation, and perfectionism that delays completion. Growth opportunities for earth-centered creators typically involve cultivating fire's experimental courage, air's conceptual flexibility, and water's intuitive flow, while maintaining their natural excellence in manifestation. This balanced development transforms technical expertise from limitation into foundation for increasingly innovative expression beyond established patterns. Fire-dominant creativity, the visionary's path. Archetypal expression of fire-centered creativity appears through transformative innovation and passionate expression. Entrepreneurship, performing arts, revolutionary design, disruptive technology, and other fields emphasizing bold vision and energetic communication. Essential strengths include exceptional originality, courage to challenge conventions, passionate communication, motivational leadership, and transformative impact that inspires others. Characteristic challenges emerge through potential impulsiveness, difficulty completing projects, resistance to necessary refinement, and intensity that may overwhelm collaborators. Growth opportunities for fire-centered creators typically involve developing Earth's patient implementation, air's systematic thinking, and water's receptive depth, while maintaining their natural excellence in visionary activation. This balanced development transforms passionate intensity from potential limitation into powerful catalyst for innovations that combine inspiration with practical viability. Air-dominant creativity, the conceptual path. Archetypal expression of air-centered creativity appears through conceptual innovation and communication systems, theoretical science, literature, strategy development, systems design, and other fields emphasizing intellectual frameworks and communicative clarity. Essential strengths include exceptional analytical capacity, communication precision, perspective flexibility, pattern recognition, and conceptual originality that creates new frameworks for understanding. Characteristic challenges emerge through potential overthinking, difficulty translating concepts into action, communication complexity that loses audience, and detachment from embodied or emotional dimensions. Growth opportunities for air-centered creators typically involve developing Earth's practical implementation, fire's motivational energy, and water's intuitive depth, while maintaining their natural excellence in conceptual clarity. This balanced development transforms intellectual sophistication from potential limitation into foundation for innovations that combine theoretical brilliance with practical impact and emotional resonance. Water-dominant creativity, the intuitive path. Archetypal expression of water-centered creativity appears through emotional resonance and intuitive connection, music, poetry, healing arts, relational design, and other fields emphasizing depth experience and empathic understanding. Essential strengths include exceptional emotional intelligence, intuitive perception, empathic connection, symbolic communication, and access to unconscious dimensions that enrich creative expression. Characteristic challenges emerge through potential overwhelm, difficulty with structure, inconsistent output, and boundary confusion between creative content and personal identity. Growth opportunities for water-centered creators typically involve developing Earth's consistent implementation, Fire's directional clarity, and Air's communicative structure, while maintaining their natural excellence in depth attunement. This balanced development transforms intuitive sensitivity from potential limitation into profound foundation for creations that combine emotional depth with structural integrity and clear communication. Beyond understanding general patterns, Elemental Wisdom offers specific approaches for common creative challenges, tailored interventions that address particular imbalances rather than one-size-fits-all techniques disconnected from their underlying causes. The blocked creator when fire diminishes. Core pattern, creative block typically represents fire deficiency, diminished motivational energy, disconnection from meaningful purpose, courage shortage, or vision loss. Elemental rebalancing approaches might include purpose reconnection, graduated challenge, creative community, and inspirational immersion. These methods rekindle internal motivation and build momentum through progressive accomplishment. The scattered creator when earth diminishes. Core pattern. Creative scattering typically represents earth deficiency, insufficient grounding, structural weakness, manifestation difficulty, or completion challenges. Elemental rebalancing approaches might include project containment, manifestation rhythm, environmental anchoring, and embodied creativity. These methods channel creative energy toward completion and ground scattered thinking through embodied presence. The rigid creator, when air and water diminish. Core pattern. Creative rigidity typically represents combined air and water deficiency, reduced cognitive flexibility alongside diminished emotional and intuitive flow. Elemental rebalancing approaches might include perspective expansion, playful experimentation, emotional reconnection, and intuitive invitation. These methods introduce flexibility and allow innovation beyond disciplined excellence. The ungrounded creator when earth and air diminish. Core pattern. Creative ungroundedness typically represents combined earth and air deficiency, reduced practical implementation alongside diminished conceptual clarity. Elemental rebalancing approaches might include structural scaffolding, concept clarification, technical development, and feedback integration. These methods transform shapeless potential into coherent expression and bridge the gap between intuitive knowing and effective execution. These approaches transform creative challenges from character flaws into intelligible patterns requiring specific elemental rebalancing, channeling gifts through appropriate forms by addressing underlying deficiencies. The elements manifest distinctively across different creative domains, their particular qualities finding unique expression through the characteristic challenges and opportunities each field presents. The business world increasingly recognizes innovation as essential capability rather than occasional luxury. Yet many organizations struggle with implementing creative processes beyond superficial techniques or isolated initiatives. Elemental Understanding provides comprehensive framework for developing innovation culture through balanced attention to complementary dimensions often treated separately. Earth-centered innovation emphasizes incremental improvement, resource optimization, and sustainable implementation. The patient refinement of existing systems through careful attention to practical details and efficiency. Companies like Toyota pioneered this approach through Kaizen philosophy, focusing on continuous small improvements rather than dramatic disruptions, creating cumulative innovation through methodical refinement that honors established foundations while gradually evolving their expression. Fire-centered innovation focuses on disruptive transformation, motivational leadership, and bold vision. the catalytic reimagining of possibilities through passionate commitment to new paradigms. Organizations like SpaceX exemplify this approach through ambitious missions that challenge fundamental assumptions about what's possible, creating revolutionary innovation through inspired direction that motivates extraordinary effort toward transformative goals. Air-centered innovation prioritizes systematic thinking, open information flow, and conceptual frameworks, the intellectual architecture that organizes creative exploration through coherent models. Companies like Google institutionalized this approach through their original 20% time, allowing exploration beyond immediate responsibilities, creating strategic innovation through thoughtful connections between seemingly unrelated domains and systematic frameworks that balance exploration with focused implementation. Water-centered innovation cultivates empathic understanding, intuitive exploration, and emotional intelligence, the depth dimension that connects with genuine human needs beyond surface market analysis. Organizations like IDEO pioneered design thinking's human-centered approach, creating meaningful innovation through deep immersion in user experience that reveals unarticulated needs and emotional responses that purely analytical approaches might miss. Integrated innovation emerges when organizations consciously develop all four dimensions, rather than over-specializing in approaches aligned with founding leadership or industry norms. Companies achieving this balance, like Apple under Steve Jobs, combining visionary direction with obsessive implementation detail, conceptual clarity with intuitive understanding of emotional relationship with technology, demonstrate how elemental integration creates sustainable innovation beyond what any single approach could achieve alone. While scientific method provides essential framework for knowledge development, history reveals that breakthrough discoveries emerge through complex interplay of systematic process and less quantifiable dimensions that elemental understanding helps illuminate. Earth in science manifests through methodical experimentation, meticulous documentation, and reproducible results, the essential ground of empirical research maintaining connection with physical reality beyond theoretical speculation. From Darwin's painstaking specimen collection to contemporary laboratory protocols ensuring replicability, Earth energy provides foundation for scientific credibility through disciplined observation and verification. Fire in science appears through paradigm-shifting hypotheses, passionate pursuit of discovery, and courage challenging established consensus, the transformative force driving exploration beyond current knowledge boundaries. From Einstein's thought experiments reimagining fundamental physics to Curie's determined investigation of radioactivity despite personal danger, fire energy catalyzes scientific breakthroughs through vision that persists despite initial resistance. Air in science expresses through theoretical modeling, mathematical formalization, and systematic frameworks, the conceptual architecture organizing observations into coherent understanding. From Newton's calculus development to contemporary computational models simulating complex systems, air energy creates scientific advancement through abstract patterns revealing relationships invisible to direct observation alone. Water in science emerges through intuitive pattern recognition, creative hypothesis generation, and embodied knowing that guides exploration, the nonlinear dimension often minimized in formal scientific accounts yet crucial to actual discovery. From Kekule's dream revealing benzene ring structure to numerous accounts of solutions appearing during sleep or relaxation, water energy facilitates scientific insight through receptive states accessing understanding beyond conscious analysis. Integrated scientific discovery occurs when researchers maintain balance between rigorous methodology and intuitive exploration, theoretical elegance and empirical grounding, transformative vision and patient verification. Scientists who consciously cultivate this elemental integration, maintaining methodological discipline without sacrificing creative intuition, developing theoretical sophistication without losing connection with physical reality, access the full spectrum of human intelligence necessary for profound discovery. The arts perhaps most explicitly demonstrate elemental energies in their diverse forms and approaches, Yet elemental wisdom reveals how even apparently contrasting artistic philosophies represent complementary dimensions of integrated creative expression. Earth in art manifests through technical mastery, material understanding, and craft tradition, the foundational skills translating vision into tangible form. Fire in art appears through original vision, emotional intensity, and transformative communication, the passionate expression that distinguishes mere technical exercise from work that moves audiences. From Picasso's revolutionary formal innovations to Frida Kahlo's unflinching self-portraiture, air in art expresses through conceptual frameworks, symbolic systems, and communicative clarity, the intellectual architecture organizing aesthetic elements into coherent statement. From Bach's mathematical precision and musical structure to conceptual artists exploring philosophical questions through visual means. Water in art emerges through emotional resonance, symbolic depth, and intuitive expression, the receptive dimension connecting with unconscious currents beneath rational understanding. From Debussy's impressionistic compositions, evoking subtle emotional landscapes, to poetry accessing emotional truth through metaphorical thinking, integrated artistic expression develops when creators consciously cultivate all four dimensions, rather than identifying exclusively with approaches aligned with personal temperament or artistic movement. Artists achieving this balance, like Shakespeare combining technical virtuosity with visionary imagination, conceptual sophistication with emotional depth, demonstrate how elemental integration creates enduring work resonating across centuries through its multi-dimensional completeness. Beyond understanding general patterns, developing sustainable creative practice requires a personalized approach honoring your unique elemental constitution while addressing specific challenges you face in creative work. Effective creative development begins with honest assessment of your natural elemental tendencies within creative context, recognizing both innate strengths and potential development areas. Consider reflection around these questions. Natural creative element. In which elemental territory do you most naturally function when creating? Do you excel at practical manifestation through disciplined implementation, visionary direction through passionate commitment, conceptual development through analytical thinking, or intuitive exploration through receptive depth? Common creative challenges. What patterns typically emerge during your creative process? Do you struggle with completion despite excellent beginning? Find yourself unmotivated despite clear understanding of what to do? Have difficulty articulating or organizing your insights, or feel disconnected from authentic intuition or emotional depth? Supportive conditions. What environments, structures, or approaches most effectively support your creative work? Do you thrive with clear deadlines and practical parameters? Need inspiring purpose and energetic momentum? Benefit from conceptual clarity and systematic frameworks, or require emotional safety and receptive space? Creative aspirations. What qualities would you most like to develop in your creative work beyond current strengths? Greater technical excellence and reliable productivity, more innovative vision and passionate engagement, clearer conceptual frameworks and communicative precision, or deeper intuitive access and emotional resonance? This assessment creates foundation for personalized creative practice beyond generic techniques, recognizing your unique starting point, characteristic challenges, and developmental directions that would most enhance your particular creative expression. Whether addressing earth deficiency or building upon natural strengths in this element, specific practices help develop the manifestation capacity essential for transforming creative potential into completed reality. Creation before consumption establishes productive rhythm beginning day with generation rather than input. By engaging in creative work before checking email, social media, news, or other external content, this practice prevents the common pattern where reception continues indefinitely without transitioning to expression, using morning's fresh energy for manifesting rather than absorbing. Minimum viable creation overcomes perfectionism through commitment to completing simplified versions before elaborate refinement. Whether writing basic draft before polishing prose, creating functional prototype before aesthetic refinement, or recording simple demo before full production, this approach maintains forward momentum through progressive manifestation rather than attempting impossible perfection in initial attempts. Physical anchoring enhances creative manifestation through conscious environment design, supporting sustained focus. Whether establishing dedicated workspace with materials readily available, creating ritual elements that signal creative mode, removing digital distractions during creation sessions, or attending to bodily needs supporting sustained attention, this approach uses tangible reality to reinforce creative discipline. Incremental completion builds manifestation capacity through dividing projects into clearly defined segments with visible progress markers. By establishing specific components that can be definitively completed rather than maintaining perpetual works in progress, this practice creates psychological momentum through concrete achievement, while preventing the discouragement of seemingly endless projects without closure. Whether addressing fire deficiency or building upon natural strengths in this element, specific practices help develop the motivational energy essential for inspired and sustainable creative work. Purpose journaling establishes motivational foundation through conscious connection with authentic meaning beyond external validation. By regularly exploring questions about what genuinely matters in your creative work, what specific qualities you wish to manifest, and how creation connects with your deepest values, this practice maintains internal motivation when external rewards prove insufficient for sustained engagement. Energy management sustains creative motivation through conscious attention to personal rhythms and regenerative practices, whether scheduling challenging creative work during natural energy peaks, incorporating movement breaks preventing physical stagnation, ensuring adequate rest between intensive sessions, or nourishing yourself with inspiring inputs balanced with creative output. This approach maintains sustainable creative fire through appropriate pacing. Courage building develops capacity for creative risk through graduated exposure to potential judgment or failure. By sharing work progressively with expanding circles, first trusted allies, then constructive critics, finally appropriate public, this practice builds resilience through manageable challenge rather than either hiding creation from all feedback or prematurely exposing vulnerable work to potentially destructive criticism. Inspirational curation maintains creative energy through deliberate collection of works, ideas, and experiences that reliably spark enthusiasm. Whether creating inspiration journal with images and quotes, developing playlists supporting creative mood, regularly engaging with masters in your field, or systematically exposing yourself to cross-disciplinary influences, this approach treats inspiration not as mysterious visitation, but as capacity actively cultivated through conscious attention. Whether addressing air deficiency or building upon natural strengths in this element, specific practices help develop the conceptual clarity essential for coherent and communicative creative work. Concept mapping develops organizational clarity through visual representation of relationships between elements. Whether using mind maps showing connections between ideas, storyboards sequencing narrative components, functional diagrams illustrating system interactions, or other visual frameworks appropriate to creative domain, this practice transforms vague mental understanding into explicit structure guiding implementation. Constraint setting enhances creativity through deliberate limitation that focuses exploration within productive boundaries. Whether restricting palette in visual arts, adopting specific form in writing, setting particular parameters for design solution, or otherwise establishing creative rules for specific project, this practice prevents scattered diffusion through focused exploration within consciously chosen constraints. Perspective shifts develop conceptual flexibility through deliberately adopting viewpoints beyond habitual position. Whether considering how different audiences might experience your work, examining creative challenge through lens of different discipline, reversing conventional assumptions as thought experiment, or otherwise temporarily inhabiting unfamiliar mental territory. This approach prevents conceptual rigidity through conscious expansion beyond comfortable patterns. Articulation practice strengthens communicative clarity through regular expression of complex ideas in accessible language. Whether explaining creative concepts to non-specialists, writing artist statements, translating intuitive process into explicit description, receiving feedback specifically on clarity rather than just content, or otherwise developing precision in conveying meaning. This approach builds capacity to communicate creative vision effectively to intended audience. Whether addressing water deficiency or building upon natural strengths in this element, specific practices help develop the intuitive depth essential for meaningful and resonant creative work. Receptive listening creates foundation for intuitive guidance through regular attention to subtle internal signals beyond analytical thinking. Whether through meditation, allowing thoughts to settle, free writing without censorship or direction, mindful walking with open awareness, or other practices creating psychological space where quieter knowing can emerge, this approach develops relationship with intuitive wisdom, often drowned out by louder voices of convention or criticism. Emotional attunement enhances creative depth through conscious connection with feeling dimension of experience. Whether through reflective writing, exploring emotional relationship with creative work, somatic awareness of bodily sensations accompanying creative process, mindful attention to emotional responses to different creative directions, or other practices developing emotional intelligence. This approach ensures creation maintains connection with authentic feeling rather than becoming merely intellectual exercise. Liminal cultivation develops access to creative states between conscious and unconscious processing, whether through hypnagogic practice capturing insights emerging during transition to sleep, morning writing before fully awake, deliberately engaging in monotonous activities, allowing mind to wander productively, or other approaches accessing associative thinking beyond directed cognition. This method creates conditions where unexpected connections and original perspectives naturally emerge. Symbolic exploration deepens creative work through engagement with metaphorical thinking beyond literal understanding. Whether through dream recording and interpretation, active imagination dialoguing with creative challenges, mythological amplification connecting personal work with universal patterns, or other approaches accessing archetypal dimensions, this practice enriches creation through connection with psychological depth beyond conceptual surface. Beyond developing individual elements, creative mastery emerges through practices that consciously integrate earth, fire, air, and water into a coherent whole. These practices create a sum greater than separate strengths. Creative cycle awareness develops meta-understanding of your process through conscious tracking of elemental phases. By recognizing which element currently needs emphasis, this practice prevents common creative derailments. Whether it's receptive gestation, conceptual clarification, motivated implementation, or disciplined completion, understanding the current phase helps align your creative energy appropriately. Complementary collaboration strategically leverages relationships with creators whose elemental strengths complement your own. Whether formally partnering or seeking specific feedback, this approach creates access to elemental wisdom beyond your natural tendencies. Multimodal creation develops elemental range through engaging diverse creative practices. Whether an analytically oriented creator engages in intuitive dance, or a conceptually driven writer practices improvisational music, this approach builds flexibility. By temporarily inhabiting creative forms outside your habitual domain, you build neuropsychological flexibility through deliberate expansion beyond comfortable patterns. Personal creative ritual creates a container supporting elemental balance through intentional practices. This might include a grounding exercise, purposeful reflection, conceptual clarity, and receptive opening to intuitive guidance. This integrated approach creates a psychological foundation where all elements contribute their essential qualities to your creative work, tailored to your unique constitution and specific challenges. Through these practices, creativity transforms from a mysterious gift or painful struggle into a natural expression of your inherent wholeness. Not through imposing generic techniques, but through conscious cultivation of a balanced relationship with the fundamental energies that constitute your multidimensional creative capacity.